Jamey will be joining us in just a moment. So why don't we start with Heath's players he loves? Who do you love this week?
I love Cam Skattebo, Jaylen Waddle, and Tommy Tremble.
Okay, Skattebo at the Saints, Waddle against the Panthers. Are they top 12?
Skattebo is very close to top 12. Waddle, I think 16 or 17.
Okay. Would you start Waddle over the struggling A.J. Brown and Brian Thomas Jr.?
Yes.
Tell me about Tommy Tremble at Miami. That's an interesting one.
23% target share to tight ends for Bryce Young this year. Jatavian Sanders missed practice again Wednesday after not practicing all week last week. The Dolphins are terrible against tight ends.
Yeah. All right. So where is he in your rankings?
Top 10. He's 8.
8. Wow. Like Dalton Kincaid or Tommy Tremble?
I'm going to go with Tommy Tremble. I think Dalton Kincaid is tied with Dallas Goedert for the most fraudulent top 12 tight end in fantasy football right now. He had 2 targets last week and played 37% of the snaps.
Yeah, I got a stat on Dalton Kincaid. Let's welcome Jamey into the. Jamey has entered the chat. Good morning, Jamey.
Good morning.
Dalton Kincaid.
Please explain your terrible trade.
The one I just made?
The Superflex one.
You didn't like it? I asked Dave what side he'd take, and he took my side.
It's terrible.
Wow. Okay. I traded Ashton Genty and Jamar Chase for Josh Jacobs, Devontae Adams, and Blake Corum. I have Kyron Williams. I might have to drop Blake Corum because I'm one over the roster limit. But so if we just took those 4 players, I traded Genty and Chase in a PPR league for Jacobs and Adams. Surprised you don't like it so much. I mean, I think it's pretty neutral trade, but okay. Interesting. Anyway,
well, that kind of makes sense. Like you've said repeatedly, you think Devontae Adams is a first-round player rest of season.
Like on the board.
And you're the most skeptical of Jamar Chase rest of season. So
Dave is the most skeptical.
Robert's in the chat. I love it.
What? Oh yeah, I made the trade with Rob in our league, and he's there, and he says I love it. Yeah. All right, Jamey, players you love this week: Justin Fields against the Cowboys. 3 straight quarterbacks have finished top 4 or 5 for the week against the Cowboys. Woody Marks at Baltimore and Tetairoa McMillan at Miami.
Yeah, I took the layup for the start of the week this week with Justin Fields. He should be awesome. Hopefully what we saw last week. His 2 healthy games, he's been awesome. 29 or more fantasy points. So not that he was injured early in the Buffalo game, but anyway, he should take advantage of this defense. It's a great situation. And like you said, last 3 quarterbacks to face them have gone over 30 fantasy points. So hopefully it's a great deal there for him. Woody Marks is facing a Ravens defense that's going to be missing most likely 7 of their starting defensive players coming off his breakout game against the Titans last week. Hopefully that continues, especially his role in the passing game. But I'm hoping that it's not just, hey, you had your week and now it's Nick Chubb's week again. But I think we could all buy into Woody Marks at this point. And then Tetairoa McMillan taking on a Dolphins defense that 2 receivers so far this year have gotten 8 targets against the Dolphins. Michael Pittman in week 1 and Garrett Wilson in week 4. Both those guys scored 20 PPR points. Hopefully Tetairoa McMillan gets his 8 targets and does something similar. But he's due for a big game. I think it happens this week.
Okay. So again, to recap, Jamey loves Justin Fields against the Cowboys, Woody Marks at Baltimore, and Tetairoa McMillan at Miami. With Woody Marks, would you start him over Derrick Henry?
So I have them back to back right now. With Henry 1 spot ahead. Okay. I'm just slightly concerned that we get a little too much Nick Chubb.
Yeah. And then McMillan, I asked Heath if he would start Jaylen Waddle over A.J. Brown and Brian Thomas Jr. Couldn't think of the other guys who were struggling. Would you start Tetairoa McMillan over A.J. Brown and Brian Thomas Jr.?
In a heartbeat.
All right. Let's move on to the players we're avoiding. But I want to remind you that we do have a game in Europe. It's in London, right?
Yes.
This Saturday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern. So we're going to have a live stream for you at 8:30 a.m. Eastern, 8:30 until 9:30. We have our first live stream. Our second one will be noon to 1 Eastern time, and that's youtube.com/fantasyfootball today. So again, join us at 8:30 a.m. and then again at noon, youtube.com/fantasyfootball today on Sunday. Jamey wants to.
I hope the Vikings are taking advantage of Carson Wentz looking like Prince Harry and doing some social media stuff with it.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Jamey wants to avoid Bo Nix at Philadelphia, AJ Brown in that same game, and Jordan Mason at Cleveland, in London against Cleveland, against the best run defense in football. So where's Bo Nix in your rankings?
He's 18th. I would start all the streaming quarterbacks over him. Sam Darnold, Bryce Young.
Wow.
Who else we talk about? Tua. It's just a bad setup. You look at Baker's game, for example, against this defense, and he got lucky with the 77-yard touchdown to Mekabuka and the big play to Bucky Irving. Bo Nix can do that if you want to buy into it. He's been bad he's averaging, prior to week 4, he was averaging under 200 yards passing. And I don't think this is the right setup for him. This feels like it could be a low-scoring game, and don't expect much from Bo Nix in terms of high-end production.
Okay, the other guys were Jordan Mason at Cleveland and AJ Brown. I mean, these are just really tough matchups. We think AJ and Heath, you have DeVonta Smith as a sit. So, am I really starting Jalen Hurts?
Well, Hurts is a different animal.
I get that, but yeah, I mean, we're not expecting much at all in the passing game, I guess. Go ahead, Heath.
He's QB 10 for me, so not necessarily a must start, but not somebody I would start Bryce Young over. But like you said, he probably scores a rushing touchdown, and then he just needs one passing touchdown. You just don't know if that one passing touchdown is going to go to Brown, Smith, or Goddard. I think one of those 3 guys probably turns out being okay, but I don't really want to start them.
Goddard missed practice on Wednesday. I don't think it's something we're really too concerned about. We'll just keep an eye on it, but something to keep in mind. All right, we're going to preview that game tomorrow, but we're obviously not super high on DeVonta Smith and AJ Brown. And then there's Jordan Mason. Who are some running backs you'd start over Jordan Mason, Jamey?
When I did my first run of rankings, I actually had Xavier Scott ahead of Jordan Mason, just because of the expectation of his role in the passing game versus what Mason may not be able to accomplish against his defense. So I moved him up into the high 20s. Some running backs I start over him.
Well, how about this? Would you start Michael Carter?
Yes, I was going to say Michael Carter would be one. Okay. If Rico Dowdle starts and Chuba Hubbard is out, I would start Rico Dowdle. I would start Rashad White if he starts and Bucky Irving's out. So all the replacement potential running backs would be starting over him, yes.
Okay, Heath, the other guys you're avoiding in addition to DeVonta Smith are T. Higgins against the Lions and Jordan Addison in that game against Cleveland and London.
Yeah, just number 2 wide receivers in low passing games against, for 2 of them, bad matchups. And the targets for T. Higgins with Jake Browning have been disgusting. We've talked about how there's too many tight end targets, but Jamar Chase still gets a 30% target share with Jake Browning. Chase Brown still has a 12% target share with Jake Browning. It's just that T. Higgins targets have completely disappeared.
Okay. And you said they're number 2 wide receivers. You meant on their own team. They're number 3 wide receivers in your rankings, right?
They're not number 3 wide receivers in my rankings. I would sit those guys in 3 wide receiver leagues.